Hey everyone, this is Dan. Glad you could join me today. You know, when people hear the word Bitcoin, they immediately think of two things. It's too volatile, it's too complicated. But today, I want to break it down in the simplest way possible. Third grade level, if you will. Easy enough for anyone to understand, but still powerful enough that you'll walk away thinking, why didn't someone explain it to me like this before? We're going to pull from the way that Michael Saylor talks about Bitcoin, because out of everyone in the world, he's probably the best at explaining it and why it works, why it has value, and why long-term investors absolutely love it. And I'm going to show you how to apply these principles to your own strategy, especially with what we're doing with Yield Z and the Z token, or what we call Y-surance. So let's kind of break it down at the foundational level. What does digital energy mean? You see, Michael Saylor often says Bitcoin is digital energy. So again, what does it mean? Well, let me make it extremely simple. Imagine you mow your neighbor's lawn and she gives you 20 bucks. Well, that 20 bucks represents your energy, your time, your work, your sweat. But paper money, fiat, USD, it loses value over time. You see, prices go up and inflation eats away at what your energy was worth. So imagine if you could take the energy you spent mowing that lawn and store it in something that never wears out, never rots, never rusts, and could be sent anywhere in the world instantly. Well, that's Bitcoin. Bitcoin is stored work, stored time, stored energy, if you will. But instead of mowing lawns, the energy comes from computers. And these computers are all over the world. They're doing mathematical equations, and this process is called mining. And the computers are often referred to as miners. And these computers aren't guessing or gambling. They're actually converting real electricity, real energy, into this digital form. But once it's created, that digital energy is what we call Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is essentially the byproduct of compute power around the globe, solving mathematical equations. And for doing this, they receive a reward. And what's the reward? It's a newly minted Bitcoin. And once a Bitcoin is minted or mined, in other words, once a Bitcoin is created through this process, it can never be changed. It can never be corrupted, inflated, or counterfeited. What Saylor says, it's the most powerful store of energy and value humanity has ever created. Because unlike dollars, you can't print more, you can't manipulate the supply, you can't fake it, you can't hack the network, and no government can shut it off. It's energy that has been crystallized into this digital asset that literally can last forever. Now, Michael Saylor says something somewhat brilliant, if you will. He says a drop in price does not mean a drop in value. You see, price is what people pay at the moment, but value is the strength of the network, and especially the network over time. If your house drops in price during a recession, if you will, your house didn't get smaller, it didn't lose bedrooms, you didn't lose the kitchen. The value stayed, only the price changed temporarily. And Bitcoin kind of works the same way. You see, when Bitcoin dips, the network's still running, miners are still mining, adoption still grows, institutions still buy, the scarcity still exists, the technology hasn't changed at all. So Saylor says volatility is the price you pay for the best performing asset on earth. But the dips won't weaken Bitcoin. They actually end up strengthening it. And why is that? Because every dip kind of cleans out the weak hands and leaves behind the long-term holders who believe in the asset. Now, Saylor also often emphasizes that Bitcoin has a hard cap of 21 million coins. That's it, forever. Not 21 million today, not 21 million unless the board votes to change it, not 21 million unless a government prints more. No, 21 million. That's it. You can't change it. I can't change it. The president can't change it. No central bank can change it. So what does that make Bitcoin? It makes Bitcoin the scarcest asset on earth, more scarce than gold, because you can always go dig up more gold, more scarce than land, more scarce than art. This is why Saylor calls it digital property. And every year, more and more institutions are converting dollars into Bitcoin. Every time they do, Bitcoin becomes even more scarce, and the price eventually rises to reflect that scarcity. Now, Saylor also repeats one principle over and over again. Not your keys, not your coins. Okay, let me explain. If someone holds your Bitcoin, they own it, not you. This is why it's so important to move your Bitcoin into your own custody, your own wallet, if you will. will. Now, this is where the Z token becomes so revolutionary. It's the only token that the price is always pegged at $1. It produces Bitcoin yield monthly. It sends the Bitcoin directly to your self-custody wallet, which allows you to control everything. You never rely on an exchange. You never rely on a custodian. You never rely on a bank or a middleman. Bitcoin should be owned by the individual, not held by any counterparty. And this is where Saylor's signature teaching comes into play. He says Bitcoin is anti-fragile. It actually gets stronger under pressure. When Bitcoin price drops, the weak miners, the miners that aren't up to speed, they shut down. The difficulty for mining adjusts. The surviving miners earn even more. So more Bitcoin flows to the efficient operators. The network becomes more secure and long-term investors accumulate more. Now with the Z token, again, the price doesn't drop. The position stays stable. And often the yield actually increases during those market volatile times as well. Now, Saylor insists that Bitcoin isn't a stock, which it isn't. It isn't a tech invention, and it's not a gamble. He calls it the world's first digital, sovereign, uncorruptible reserve asset. And he has one bit of advice or a little bit of guidance that's really simple. When everyone is fearful, that's when you should be accumulating. And with the Z token, it becomes automatic. Every month you receive Bitcoin. You receive Bitcoin at a discount. You get to put it into self-custody. And each month you accumulate more, which is increasing your value. The Z token is the practical execution of Bitcoin. So you want to see how the token can grow your wealth, increase your income, and build a store of value for generations to come? If so, let's have a private strategy session. At the very least, you'll see something fascinating that's happening right before our eyes. And the big players, the banks, institutions, brokerage firms, governments, and billionaires, they're taking advantage of it every single day. So reach out, grab some time on my calendar. Let's have a quick chat. And don't forget to ask me about Ysurance, how to put a safety net under all this. Well, until next time, take care.